And joining us now on Encounter is Scott Campbell, who's the Regional Director for Central Africa for Catholic Relief Services. And thanks so much for being with us, Scott.
My pleasure.
Maybe you could start off right away, Scott, by talking a little bit about your job as Regional Director and what that entails.
Well, I cover 7 countries right now, the 2 Congos, Rwanda, Burundi, Cameroon, Chad, and Central African Republic. And in a few more months, I'll be covering Nigeria, Benin, and Togo. And my principal responsibility is to make sure that the country programs where we operate are following and fulfilling the mission of CRS, which is really to support people who are poor and vulnerable and give them an opportunity to realize their full human potential.
And maybe if we could get into Central Africa Republic right now too. I know there's a tense situation there. Maybe if you could talk to us about that and what's been going on there and how difficult the situation is.
Well, there was a brewing coup that finally took place in March of last year. And people and rebel groups from the north of the country, along with mercenaries from Chad and Sudan, had descended down to the capital and took over the government. Unfortunately, that situation was very messy, very bloody, lots of looting, rapes, killings in the process of the coup, and has continued since, in fact. But there was a backlash that started in December of last year and basically overthrew the coup leaders. Okay. And now there's an interim government. And that government is now struggling to kind of put back the government itself, but also society, because there has been this huge rift, sectarian rift, unfortunately along religious lines, Muslim and Christian, that ordinarily these 2 communities worked very closely together, lived together for decades without any issues and problems. And so this is the problem that the country is facing now, is putting back that social fabric. And CRS is very much involved in helping that process of rebuilding the communities, rebuilding the social fabric with the Catholic Church, but also with Protestant churches and the Muslim community as well.
And maybe if you could talk about the people too, and of course with any conflict like this, ends up hurting the people and displacing them. And talk about that. I know there's some camps that are set up and you've visited them as well.
Yeah, because when the coup happened, and literally the rebels kind of marauded through, pillaging and looting, burning down whole swathes of communities, either cities or whole villages. And in that process, people fled, literally with the clothes on their back, into the bush. And so they had very little to begin with before the conflict, because it was a very poor country at the outset. But what little they did have in the way of farm animals, seeds, and tools, and of course their housing and some of their clothes had all been looted, stolen, or burned. And so now they're going through this process of regaining all of that. We provide what are called non-food items, NFIs, and that consists of things like blankets, cookingware, pots and pans, soap, mosquito nets, and so forth, the basic necessities. We've also distributed food through our local partners, and we're now engaged with seeds and tool distributions, because this is the 2nd consecutive year where the planting season has been significantly disrupted. And so it's not just in the immediate, but it has far-reaching consequences for the future as well.
And maybe if you could too talk about your relationships. I know CRS has people on the ground everywhere around the world too, but what's it been like to work in situations like this where there is the conflict going on, where there's some danger involved, and sort of starting things and helping these people out?
Yeah, security is a huge issue because right now there continues to be independent or loosely confederated militias on either side of the conflict. And there really isn't a full grasp of the security situation throughout the country. It's true that the African Union, now the European Union, as well as French forces are in the country to try and provide that kind of security, but they're far too few to really secure it properly. UN forces are coming in, but they won't be fully online until September. In the meantime, there are these pitched battles, lootings do continue, killings as well, and it makes it very difficult for us to access certain areas. And so we are very keen to be working with local staff, obviously, but local partners and different agencies who are in different areas of the city or parts of the country to know where it's secure, where we can move forward and do the relief efforts that we are working on now.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Scott, for being here and bringing us up to date on what's going on too, and the important work of CRS as well, and how important it is for people to give to CRS too to help you out there. Is the future looking a little bit better now, or what would you say as you look forward?
Well, we've been involved with the three faith communities, Catholic, Protestant, and Muslim. We work with them on social cohesion and reconciliation workshops, which has transformed many people's lives to be open to reconciliation. And in fact, many people do want to come back to the pre-conflict scenario where people worked and lived together harmoniously. Unfortunately, there is this small minority that is extremely radical and pulling the threads of violence to their own aims. But yeah, I think it is very hopeful. We just have to give people the resources and the opportunity to bring it back together again.
Thanks so much, Scott, for being with us.
Thank you.